By the 1990s, members of the Crafts Guild of Manitoba were finding it harder and harder to operate. Even though the guild shop continued to be successful, the sales were not enough to keep up with all the guild's operating fees. By 1997, guild members made the decision to disband. The guild shop closed the same year the guild disbanded, and they held a retirement sale all throughout May of 1997. The museum, which held the guild's permanent collection, went under the stewardship of the Manitoba Craft Council. It was in 2001 that the museum separated from the Craft Council and formed its own independent organization, the Manitoba Crafts Museum and Library. Fond memories of the Guild are not hard to find. The following clips from oral history interviews are examples of how significantly the Guild influenced the lives of craftspeople in Manitoba.
How did you feel about the Guild closing?
Tremendously sad. Yeah. I thought it was a huge loss to the community. People still talk about it. Mm-hmm. And not Guild members. you know, that people recognized that this was gone. Mm-hmm. But you really have to give credit to the women who recognized what was happening and said, well, you know, they're starting to lose money. And you have a choice. You can either do something now, or you can let it go on and bleed money year by year until there's nothing left.
Right.
So they were able to, as they closed down the Guild, they made a large contribution to the Winnipeg Foundation, which, as you know, supports the Crafts Guild Museum and Library now. Mm-hmm. So they were able to keep something going. Right. And you really have to give them credit for what they did. Mm-hmm. You know, it was actually really courageous, because it's a lot easier to just let things go than it is to be proactive and say, no, we're going to save what we can.
Mm-hmm. That filled a time in my life when my children were starting to grow up and not need me very much, and I needed an outlet. My husband was working, and I needed an outlet, and I found the Craft Guild was really an outlet for me, a place to be with other people, and that led me into a whole host of other things, some craft groups, weaving group that started up, and you know, other things like that. And we had these groups that met together outside of the Craft Guild as well. And for me, that was a lifesaver in those times when my children were growing up, and I was, you know, trying to figure out who I was and what I was to do other than being a wife and mother.
Yes, the Craft Guild has had a great influence on my life. It introduced me to wonderful teachers, friends. We had fellowship and inspiration in our creativity. Miss Allen was the designer from the university. She taught several courses and taught to be a good friend. I found that because of the Craft Guild, I was able to show some of my work around the city and be sent on some, I was sent on some wonderful projects and workshops in other parts of Canada, as were many of the other teachers. But most of all, it was the friends that we made and the being able to work together and enjoy that wonderful space.
The Crafts Guild of Manitoba was so much more than just a guild. It fostered new friendships and opportunities for craftspeople in Manitoba, and its legacy continues to be seen all over the province and throughout Canada.